Main carer, Sarah, has fibromyalgia and ME.
Cases are often referred to us when a person is at a particular crisis in their life. And this couple had reached a tipping point, and the care coordinator at the surgery felt that they needed input from external organisations. With the overload of caring duties, the wife was in a real crisis point herself.
Some weeks she doesn't feel able to talk to me, so we would engage in text messages.
So with Bath Mind on board, we could then start to look at the financial situation.
They were heading for the possibility that they could lose their house because the husband was the breadwinner. The wife, who is unable to work and actually needs to care for her husband. So all they could see was the edge of a cliff looming.
And it became very clear that if we didn't get some practical help into that house quickly, we were absolutely in carer breakdown territory.
We took the initial referral under Sarah's name as a home response for 6 weeks. And then that flowed directly into a home from hospital referral for her husband.
He started having seizures and quite dramatic falls at the house, and the paramedics had to take him into hospital for a checkup.
The discharge team were aware that there were agencies visiting each day, and that made his hospital stay shorter.
On the occasions when she did feel able to talk and offload, she was really very articulate. But was really struggling with the unknown factor. Was he seriously ill? Was he not seriously ill? Would he ever go back to work? Would he not?
Weekly, we were reporting back at the Community Wellbeing Hub MDT about everybody's progress with this couple, and we found that really beneficial. It was clear that lots of different agencies were involved, and at that meeting, we were able to find out who's visiting on which day, which meant we could slot in on the days when other agencies weren't going in.
So the first contact allowed us to put the brakes on, and then the ongoing contact has allowed us to get them back into a situation where they are financially stable, their house is safe, and they can afford to keep warm, because for the husband with MS, that is incredibly important.
And that, to me, is actually what person-centred planning is all about. It makes sure that the individual who requires the support of human services is right at the centre of those discussions.
And from this family's point of view, they have actually said that the quick action and the support of these multi-agencies has absolutely transformed their lives.